Right, what's happening guys? Welcome back to the channel. You'll have to excuse the state of me, I've just finished training, but today's video, as promised, we are going to give you a gym tour. So I'm going to show you around this place, show you the kit that I have, show you the space that I have to be able to train for competitions like World's Strongest Man from the comfort of my own home. So before we get started, please, as always, like, comment, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. I'm trying to boost the YouTube channel, and the bigger it grows, the more I can do with it. So down here, I'll actually show you now. This is my recovery area, so it's not actually being used at the moment. I haven't used it since World's Strongest Man, so it's probably overdue a clean. But as you can see, I've got some rabbits there as well. I've got an ice bath from the ice bath company, and then next to it a lazy spa hot tub as well. And obviously it's packed under a roof, so I have lighting down there and stuff as well, so I can pretty much do all my recovery stuff around the clock whenever I need to. And I'll show you the gym now as well. So this is the double garage. This is where I probably do about 90% of my training in here. So this is the space. It's not as big as you think. A random stone. Tell me you're a strong man without telling me. And this is the space that I've got here. So like I said, I probably do around 90% of my training here. Obviously I've got the rack, all the bars, plates, that's where I deadlift, obviously, log press, things like that. The only actual event that I do in here is the stones. So this is a Giants Live spec stone wall, and I'll show you more of the stones and stuff that I've got in a bit. So yeah, this is the space, obviously pretty cool. Got some of the guys' t-shirts up there. I need to add some more, but yeah, this is what we're working with. So I'll start off with this bit of kit. Obviously this is probably the most used bit of kit. It's just what I've actually got off. So this is a Rogue Echo bike. So I do most of my low intensity steady state conditioning, all sorts, hit, everything on that. This Mirafit M2, I believe, or it might be the M3. This is a half rack. So as you can see, it's not actually a full depth squat rack. It's only a half rack, but credit where credit's due. I've had 300 plus kilos in this rack and it's never failed me. So a decent rack, especially for a home gym. Kind of, I didn't know what space I was gonna have. I didn't want the rack to come too far this way. So a half rack was the best call, but yeah, I'm really happy with this kit. And then obviously all of the Mirafit calibrated plates for deadlifting and some bumpers and stuff. And then there's some normal plates here as well. This is more for like, if I do any grip training, I can do plate pinches and stuff. You can see the setup that I've got here. This is the bench setup. Obviously I'm preparing for the Strongest Man on Earth. So I recently picked up these monolift attachments. So I can basically unrack a bench and they will just flick out of the way. So I can basically give a handout to myself on a bench without anyone else here. I do train I do train by myself all the time now. So a dumbbell rack, obviously I've only got from 5 up to 30 kilos, but it's more than I did have. So this is only probably within the last sort of 3 or 4 months I've had this. Before that, I just had these loadable dumbbells here, which kind of do work to an extent, but they're such a pain in the ass when you're trying to train. The last thing I want to be doing is adding weight all the time, fannying around with that kind of stuff. So yeah, I brought this rack here, and this has been a nice little addition to the gym for sure. Moving on, these cages here, these are my silver dollar attachments. So I should have mentioned, obviously I'm sponsored by Mirafit, which is all this orange kit here. I also work with Ian Wilton. So Ian is a client of mine. You would have seen a lot of his stuff advertised on Instagram, on my Instagram. He's built a lot of my bespoke strongman kit for me. So these are, like I said, silver dollar attachments. So this is what I used in prep for World's Strongest Man with the max 18-inch deadlift. Wicked bit of kit. A GHD. So this is from Mirafit. I do actually use this quite a lot at the moment. It's just storage. But yeah, I use that quite a bit. And then we've got the Mirafit crash pads and the Big Dogs Division wooden log. I've had this log now since April 2022. I constantly have to reweigh it because of the moisture in this place. I weighed it 2 days ago and it was 80.1 kilos, so just over 80 kilos. When I bought it, it was 118, so just goes to show. That's the only difficulty with wooden logs, is obviously you have to constantly reweigh them. But moving on, Atlas stones. Right, so I do have obviously the Atlas wool here. So this is the Giants Live spec. It goes from 170 centimeters top platform, and it descends 10 centimeters down each one to 130 centimeters the bottom platform. And I've got 100 kilos, 120, 140, 160, 180 and a 200. And then further down here, I have a 220 kilo stone, and I have a 240 kilo stone, which I'd imagine with the strongest man on earth upcoming will be repped again soon, so I look forward to that. The collection of bars, so the top one there is a Texas deadlift bar. That is a Mirafit Behemoth deadlift bar. That's actually the same bar there that we use at Giants Live now as well, for the deadlift ladders and for just deadlift for reps with barbell. Then I've just got a axle bar, a camber bar here. So this is pretty handy, obviously, for benching. It acts as like a deficit bench, so it elongates the range of motion, which is quite nice. And then at the bottom there, we've got a Mirafit safety squat bar. Here, I haven't used it yet, but I've just picked up this trap bar from, again, Mirafit. Now, I'm not sure if I'm actually going to be able to get enough weight on there. We will have a look, we will have a go. And then just some other little bits and bobs. So a shoulder mace here, a Saxon bar for grip training, and then an easy bar just for whatever. I have, how many dumbbells do I have? 3 dumbbells here. So I've got the Rebel Strength dumbbell here, and then over at the barn, which I'll show you in a minute, that's the other training space that I have. I've got 2 other dumbbells over there, both made from Ian. They're like the loadable circus dumbbells. The only difference is they've got different width handles, which I'll show you. But then I've got cables, resistance bands, all the attachments, all that kind of stuff. So that's actually really handy to have as a home gym as well. And then what else do we have? I think that is pretty much everything in here. Obviously, loads of miscellaneous gym kit, loads of grip tools and things like that, fat grips, cable attachments, another bench. This is the latest edition of kit that I have. You might have seen this on my Instagram. It's already scratched. I've gave it a few throws. That is a plate loadable keg. So I will be obviously preparing for the strongest man on earth. And what I didn't want to be doing is I'm going to be throwing that on grass, probably somewhere out here. I didn't want to be constantly adding either lead or sand or whatever it is to a keg. So Ian proposed he make up a plate loadable one. And I think it's a wicked idea. So it's yet to be test driven, but I'll give it a proper go in the next couple of weeks and we'll see if it's a good concept or not. And then probably the only other thing in here is probably something that I do actually use every single day. It's a boring bit of kit, but this is a sissy squat machine. So basically I would stand in this like that, put my legs in there, loop that band around the back of my knees, and then I would do some isometrics basically. So I would pause in a partial squat position and hold that isometric, and that's something that's been really good for my knee health. So I think that is everything. I think there's nothing else to show. So what I'll do now is I'll take you down to the barn actually. So it's actually on the yard. So it's only a little short walk away. But one of the luxuries of obviously training here, I can go down and use the barn. As soon as I'm done with training, I can go and do some recovery work in the hot and cold, and then within a matter of seconds, I'm back through my front door again. So it's not a luxury that I've always had. Obviously, before 3 years ago, before we moved into this place, we were just renting a house and then commuting to the gym, and that commute was probably a round trip, maybe an hour and a half. and I was training out of a gym called Jurassic Muscle and Fitness, which is a great gym. Obviously it's a bit of a mission away from me, but my good friend Carl owns the gym, and he was very nice to let me have some of the space to kind of start storing kit and stuff. And then obviously once I just started getting more and more into strongman, started accruing more and more kit as you go. Eventually when we did acquire this place, I ended up just having already a decent enough home gym set up, and then Mirafit sponsored me and got me all the little bits that I need, and then that's pretty much what I've done with every single prep now. Is each prep that I do, I just accrue more kit. So if I need, for example, like a Hercules hold or power stairs or whatever it may be, then I reinvest it back in the gym. Okay, so this is the second area that I have to train. This is the barn. Now, obviously this comes in handy because I've got a run here starting from there, and it goes all the way to the far end, and it's a 20-meter run with about 4 meters run off either side, which is obviously perfect for strongman. And I can train here 24/7. Obviously it's well lit, there's good kind of space to throw stuff as well. I think the top of the ceiling's 9 meters, so I probably shouldn't ever need more space. But yeah, obviously this is ideal. The only thing with this place is that it's joint. Obviously it is a working yard, so there is a bunch of hay there, and it can make some of my stuff covered in hay, quite dusty, so I do have to regularly clean it. That's why the stones aren't in here, because obviously Atlas stones, tacky, that would be an absolute nightmare. But it also fits in nicely with the, having the stones in the garage, because I can control the climate. Because that garage is quite small, I can heat it up quite nicely. And obviously if I'm training to do stones, a World's Strongest Man, or where I'm going to need different tacky and stuff like that, I can kind of put the heaters on or whatever I need to do. So this is the space. I'll quickly walk you through it. So obviously there's not really much to show down this side here. I've got a Mirafit yoke. I don't actually use that for doing yoke. I just use that to load stuff over basically. So whether it be Atlas stones, or I would take it up to the garage and do stone over bar, or I'd leave it here and I would just do loading medley, steeplechase, that kind of stuff. And then down in this corner, this is just like my junk corner. I've got an old bike, a Mirafit sled, and probably the latest addition of kit that I have to this place, again from Ian, is a Hercules hold, which I had made for World's Strongest Man. Now, this bit of kit is absolutely wicked. He knocked this up for me. It took about 4 weeks. It went from an idea to product, and here delivered in person in about 4 weeks, which was obviously massively beneficial to me. So yeah, wicked Hercules hold. In here you'll see my makeshift jerk blocks that I made from pallets, again for the behind the neck jerk for World's Strongest Man. And considering I made them, they've actually stood the test of time. So yeah, decent, very happy with that. It's got some Mirafit crash pads. And then these are the 2 dumbbells that I'm on about. So I'll actually quickly show you now. This is the first dumbbell that Ian made for me. This is the first dumbbell that Ian made, basically. I know quite a lot of people have them now, but this is the OG. So it is a loadable circus dumbbell with a standard size handle. And then recently, prior to World's Strongest Man, he did it again, but he put I think this is 3-inch. Basically, this is to replicate the same size handle as the Rogue monster bells that we use at Worlds. So again, really handy. If you've never used a circus dumbbell before, if you've only ever used like your standard Rebel Strength dumbbell, it can throw you off. The rack position feels completely different. So you can see here, I've still got some kit left out from Worlds. I was doing my press medleys in this place here, so I'd set up like the dumbbell, then the axle, then the log and stuff. So all of this is still set up here. Obviously Mirafit bumper plates, that is a Mirafit hybrid bar, so it's not a power bar. That orange bar there is a Mirafit power bar, but this is a hybrid bar, so it's not as stiff, and that's why I was using it for the barbell, because I needed it to be a little bit whippy. Fixed axle, it is a fixed axle. I've made it so, not just with those bands, but also I've secured the plates onto the actual axle, so that is a fixed axle. That is the thing that claimed my bicep about 13 months ago. Over in that corner there, again, that's just a bit of a junk corner. That is power stairs, but you can see that I've used some of the wooden slats to actually build this. So I'm overdue making up some new stairs. Maybe Ian will make me up some. I do have them to train for the strongest man on earth. But these are Giants Live spec. Most of the time, if I get any kit made, I would ask Giants for what the spec is, if it's the stone platforms or if it's the power stairs or whatever it may be. I'll see if I can get some kind of spec to kind of base our designs off. So I will definitely need some power stairs at some point, probably in the next few weeks. Maybe I'll just redo those. But you can see, obviously, probably one of the events that I'm most known for is the throwing frame. That is currently set at 4.6 meters. I will probably leave this in here, and I will do the majority of my keg toss for max height, even with sandbags. And then what I'll actually do is, I do have that loadable keg, and I'll just take that outside. I won't throw over a bar, I'll just literally throw it, but I'll just get to grips with actually how I grip onto the keg as opposed to how a bag feels. So that's the plan, I think, with that. Down here we have obviously all the sandbags. These have recently all been changed again. My brother decided to paint the weights on the bag like an idiot. Just a stupid idea because they change all the time, and some of those are owned not by me, they're owned by Mr. Glasscock, so I'm sorry, Ben, but my brother's an idiot. Then we have the sandbags, so as you can see, obviously ranging from 75, 100, 125. These two here are 140 kilos in 150 kilo sacks. So as you can see, they're quite floppy. That is how Giants Live do them. And to be honest, it's harder. I would rather just have 150 kilos of sand and the bag be more rigid. As you can see, that is 140 kilos, but that's a 140 kilo sack. And you can see the difference there. That's way easier than that. Then I've got the world's floppiest Husafell bag. And that's about it for sandbags. This is obviously the messy corner where I do most of the sand loading. This weird contraption here, it's not what you think. It's not some kind of plug. That is a Conan's wheel. So this here is like a trailer hitch, and that pops on to the top there. And then obviously this is the extending arm of the Conan's wheel, and that slot there perfectly fits one of my yoke uprights. So I literally just pop one of those uprights into that hole on the Conan's wheel, and then we're good to go. If I've got a video of me doing the Conans, I'll attach it now. But again, an Ian Wilton loadable shield. So I had that made prior to the Magnus Classic to prepare for the Husafell. Two different types of farmer handles. A lot of junk in the corner. A rope to do any kind of sled pull or arm over arm. This is the first bit of kit Ian Wilton ever had fabricated for me. So I bought this Viking press off eBay, and the handles at the time, for anyone that's ever used like a standard gym Viking press or whatever, the handles were so narrow, and they were also this way, and I wanted them obviously neutral and wider. So again, I got the specs from Giants Live, how kind of wide the handles are, and just disassembled the top part of the Viking press, sent it off to Ian, and then he came and delivered it, repaired and to spec like a couple of weeks later, and then that is basically how we started. So lovely little backstory there for you. And then that's pretty much it. This is the old Viking press. I'd basically just use a landmine attachment off the power stairs, as you can see. So this, I used to hook a barbell into this, and then on the end of the barbell attach that thing, and that would be my Viking press. But that is obviously, this one is way better. And that is pretty much all the kit. Oh, and these obviously natural stones. Got some Cornish granite. This one here is 110. That one there is 96. Had I have not acquired this prior to World's Strongest Man, I'm not sure I would have made the final. This is what, obviously, training on this is what helped me press that stone to make the final. So very got some sentimental value with that. And then tucked under there, nice and cozy. Obviously I'm covering it up because that is a 160 kilo Atlas stone and I don't want it to get all dusty. The only reason it was down here was because I was doing the actual stone medley. So I was pressing the stone, carrying a Husafel, shouldering the 160 stone. So that is pretty much this space, guys. Obviously, like I said, you can see why I wouldn't put Atlas stones and stuff in here. It does get very dusty, but I'm very lucky to have this amount of space to train in. You know, prior to this, obviously, I was training out of Jurassic Muscle and Fitness. Still a fantastic gym. Carl is a legend for letting me kind of slowly build up kit. But the issue was there was no outdoor space that was covered or lit. And obviously I would train out of hours. So I'd be rocking up to the gym at 8 or 9 PM at that time and dragging kit out of a storage container, running up and down the road, using my car's headlights to be able to see, and then packing it up all again now. So obviously this is my place. I can make it a shithole if I want. I can leave stuff out. I try and keep it neat and tidy. Obviously I don't really train with anyone now. So any mess is my mess, but this is the space, guys. So not something that happened overnight. Obviously I've been accruing kit probably for the last 3 years now. Never intended to have a home gym setup. It just kind of landed itself in front of me and I grabbed the opportunity, and I think now I've pretty much got all the kit that I would need. There's other little bits and bobs that I would like. Maybe I would like a Fingal's finger at some point. Just basically then, so when an event crops up in a competition, I don't have to rush out and get it. All I have to do is train it. It's already good to go. So that's it, guys. This video, obviously, I just kind of kept it raw. I didn't want to do any fancy editing. So it's only, you know, one big long-winded video of me chatting. But if you do like this kind of content, obviously make sure to like a comment, leave a comment, subscribe, share, all that stuff. Even if you can just literally comment a little flower emoji down at the bottom, it will help my algorithm. It will boost the YouTube channel. And yeah, thanks for watching. Next video will probably be in a week's time. It will be session 1 of my Strongest Man on Earth prep. So it's not going to be anything exciting to begin with, but I will be showing you what kind of shape I'm in and give you an insight into what my training's looking like. So thanks for tuning in, and until next time.